The Internet of Things is a big wave that is coming, where we can connect device to the Internet, gather data from the sensors and send to the cloud or process that information later using all the techniques that the corporate developers knows how to deal and are interested on in this conference. So the idea of Internet of Things is to connect the devices and provide a better experience from human interaction to devices and also machine to machine. So how we can propagate all this information through a chain of machines. First, one step behind, one thing that motivates us on this, and I believe that motivates most developers, is that as a developer, we are already used to open source, to create our own code, to collaborate with others, but in general, we are developing something that a third part wants. What's the business, what's the business opportunity, and all this makers wave that came with the Internet of Things shows us, the do-it-yourself culture, and, when you see your problem and you want to work on that. So we really believe that developers are already used to the maker spirit, but we end up not putting that on our own life. We put that on, the common projects we work on. And with Internet of Things, we can use this knowledge and experience our solutions for our own project. So, if I love boats, I can do something for my own boat. If I have a cat and I need to automatize the feeding, I can do that. If I forget my keys every time, like is my case, we can automatize the open door of our home or the garage or anything by, opening when we tweet. So I believe it's a perfect match between the Java community and all the open source communities and the maker spirit that, it's one of the important parts of the Internet of Things. Open hardware helps a lot, low-cost hardware helps a lot. But still we have a gap, because as corporate developer we are used to a certain way to program. High-level APIs, methods and functions and code that make sense when we read the names. We are a little far away, thanks JVM, from the hardware, so we can do this high-level programming. When we go to the Internet of Things, we end up by dealing with hardware, and hardware ports, port numbers, and all information that doesn't make that much sense for a corporate developer. And also some challenges on the hardware side, when you need to deal with interruptions and all that. So, of course, somehow we need to deal with that. But we don't need to deal directly. We can, the same way JVM hides that complexity, we can create a software layer that hides that. And that's one thing we were working on. All these APIs and protocols, low-level protocols that can make the first start of a Java developer easier on the Internet of Things, so they don't need to deal with that, at least in the first moment. Here we do have the hardware. As a Java developer, we are used to do the reference implementation, so we do have the hardware where we have all these protocols and software running, but all this hardware, it's based on open standards or very common market standards, so people can build their own. But what I'm talking about is the software layer. So we have the board that has been crowdfunded in Brazil last year, and but most important, we have the software layer for that. So we have the surfing protocol, which makes you to communicate easier with this board or any other Arduino board using serial communication, which is something we are not used to. So we want something that makes it easier for us. And then we have the surfing service, which makes the communication between the board and common protocols like MQTT, REST, JSON easier. So it translates the information from the serial protocol to a more machine-to-machine or even human protocol. And also the surfing API, where we have the same concepts we have on the other protocols, but then on the Java API, which makes us really feeling like home. The idea is that you can use that for your projects, you can use that for your small projects, or even customize that for a large-scale project. In general, people that are working with hardware, when they go to production and go to thousands and thousands, they will try to take out everything you don't will not use to reduce costs. So the idea is that you can prototype, you can do small scale products using that, but if you want to go to a high scale production, you can cut whatever you want and customize your own batch of production. And the software, it's on Git, it's open, people are already committing code back. So the first idea was educational, was to use on universities, on projects, on startups that needs to fast prototype, and to engage and embrace the developers community on that. But yes, you can use on production if you want. Exactly. One of the challenges here, there are a lot of sensors. And if you want to code everything you need to have all that sensors available and being controlled by your software at the same time, it will take you probably weeks, to solder everything and make the code. With the IoT Surfboard, is like, that developer that wants to have their first experience with IoT, maybe already have some boards on the shelf, which is pretty common. People already have those boards, but doesn't have the time to go and study them. So, with 2 or 3 hours, you can explore all the sensors here, which is very fast compared to building your own. The first thing we did for the IoT Surfboard is a layer where people don't need to code. So you can just plug it into your computer and play with the surfing protocol. So in a way like URL-based, you can just interact with the board. So without coding, you can, just with REST APIs or the serial protocol, you can turn on and off a relay or any equipment at your house, or you can read the sensors and things like that. So if you are a mobile developer and you just want to play, you can just make REST calls and use the pre-built functionality to that. Or if you are a web developer, it's the same. If you want to change your website color based on outside temperature, you don't need to code for that. You can just access all the protocols that are available to get that information. And then on the second moment, if you want to go ahead, then you can play using MQTT, which for corporate developers with enterprise developers is the same things we learn from JMS, the message queue, publish, subscribe architecture. So you can, without coding without coding inside the Surfboard, but just coding your own application, you could access that through MQTT. And then if you want to go to a third level, you already played, you're already engaged, you're already kind of comfortable with that, then you can create your own modes or add other sensors and things like that. And for that, you will need to learn a little Arduino, which is a C-like language, or use our Java APIs. So we tried to create these 3 levels of interaction with the board exactly to make that first application goes smoothly and fast. It has an infrared, so some people are already controlling their own home equipment. So basic things like turn on your air conditioner when the temperature reaches a certain level, or another interesting case is turn off the fan when it gets late at the night and you don't need it anymore, but you can't wake up to turn off the fan. So just when it reaches a certain temperature, it will turn off so you don't get sick. Another people have done something for turning on recycling equipment that takes 20 hours. So in a certain, before they need a person to go there Saturday, 7 a.m. just to turn that on and to do these little controls. So, all that with Relay are really easy to do. We also created our own breathalyzer. So, we can play with that. I will tell you a very short story, but I remember when I did my first Java training, after university, I already programmed Java, and then I met a crazy guy that leads a user group down in Brazil, and he's called Brazilian Java Man, Bruno Souza, and then he was telling me how wonderful was Java 1. And so I go back to my company and I said, you know, I want to go to that. I need a ticket, and I really want to go to Java 1. And so I couldn't get the ticket through the company, but this friend got me an invitation ticket so I could go without paying for that ticket. And since that, I met several other people at Java 1. I got to participate on the Java user group. I got to be president of this Java user group. We got, you know, the number of facts that came to my career are, you know, very hard to list. But after these years, I got the Java champion, and with Java champion, I could travel around the world. For my career, my company, there were enormous amount of opportunity that brings to me. So what I would say is participate, but not on a read-only mode. Participate, really participating. I mean, talk to people, ask them questions, connect to them, not just changing business card, but go ahead, you know, connect through LinkedIn, or if you want to connect to a speaker, just take a picture and send a message on social. But it doesn't make sense just to go to conference as a read-only, just go there for watching the talks. It's very important that you give one step ahead and communicate with people, talk to them, and most important, after you open the door, keep it open for other community members. So that's one important thing I learned from this friend, Bruno Souza.